We are the Kings of the West, the sixth AL West title in 7 years. The Astros, on the last game of the season, clinched the division, the number 2 seed. We will play the winner of the Toronto and Minnesota wildcard series. Let's talk about this exciting news and what we had to look forward to on this edition of Locked On Astros.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Grate H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. You find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at with all your stuff on?
They can find me on X at H-Town Wheelhouse. They can find me on TikTok. I got to get used to that. I got to come up with another. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on X at H-Town Wheelhouse. Find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. Positive. I love it when other teams win and other teams lose, and our team ultimately gets the spoils. We're the second seed, baby. And that's amazing. Always Stros.
I mean, I'm a math teacher, and the odds of what happening, it was 5%. What happened should not have happened. And it's just amazing that it did. And guys, if you weren't lucky enough to get the tickets for the ALDS, which is going to start on Saturday, go check out Game Time. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guarantee. And you see the Astros out there celebrating. We are celebrating with y'all because we went through all the ups and downs of this season. This was a roller coaster ride of a season, but we did it with the help of you listeners. Thank you for becoming everydayers with us this year. Whether you've subscribed to us on YouTube or you haven't subscribed to us, it's that little red button down there. Just go and do it for us and give us a big fat thumbs up and go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. But we are super excited. Cristian Javier stepped up big. Alex Bregman has been really, I guess I can say the word sucking recently, but he had that big home run to get the scoring started today. And then the offense just went from there, got the big lead, and where you didn't have to worry about things. The bullpen came in, got the job done. Hunter Brown came in and showed that he could be an asset in the bullpen. I know we're not going to talk a lot about the roster today, but right now, we are going to be celebrating like the Astros did. Yesterday, the Rangers, they celebrated. They had their big rager, and they didn't play their best baseball today. But the Astros, they had a muted celebration, so they knew that the job wasn't done, and they took care of business. That's the difference between being there, doing that before, and what the Rangers did. I'm not saying that cost the Rangers the game today, but the Astros knew that they had something to do.
Oh, I think it had a little bit to do with it. Dwayne comes in and asks us, how many days in first place do the Astros actually have? Could it possibly be a historic low or even a record low for a division winner? May Eric, since he goes, maybe Eric, since you're a math teacher. Look, are you just saying I can't count simple numbers to 10? Because I'm pretty sure it was less than 10 days that they spent in first place. And it might be. I would have to look into that. I don't know how I would research those numbers, Eric, but it really is when you think about it. After all that's been said and done this year, after the Rangers not falling off even at the end of the season, even with their injuries, and then charging hard there after the Astros and Rangers series, the last 5 games, you just thought, I mean, even Rangers people were saying season's over. I mean, they were done. They weren't even in the playoffs. And then you had Seattle rise and then fall. You remember that, Eric? Oh, he's counting.
14.
You had 14 days. You had the Mariners rise and then fall. They rose again, they fell again. And the Astros just kind of did this steady climb, this steady, slow ascension to the top, and here we are, the last game of the season. Man, I just really wish Kyle Tucker. I wish they would have awarded him with a in the park home run. I understand why they
We're going
didn't
to talk about that. I'm still
yeah,
pissed off about that. But it's 14 days that they had sole place of
14
first
days.
place, but 17 that they are tied with somebody for first place. So I don't know if you're going to count the ties. The ties count in baseball, but when they're in first place, it's 17 days total. When they're sole position, 14. So for the whole season, they pretty much were playing from behind, and for the Astros to do what they did, it's just amazing. And I love what the Astros Twitter handle is doing. Earlier in the season, they've basically they said, will some other team unseat the Houston Astros in AL West? All year, it looked like some other team would do it. And then all they put was no as a response. And then you say,
That's awesome.
love to see it in response to the Seattle Mariners. So, but I'm glad that the Mariners, they did not just say, oh, you know what, our season's over. Let's just go and shut it down. We don't care what happens this game. They played with integrity and went out there and played some good baseball. And Kirby went out there and shut down the Rangers. And I think the only run scored on was it a ground ball or a force out or something like that. So that was a sucky way to, as a Rangers fan, to have to play 3 extra games, 2 extra games. Because this means the Astros, to go to the World Series, only have to win 11 games now versus 13.
Well, at the end of that game, in the 7th inning, they pulled Julio, they pulled Kirby early, they pulled a couple key players, and I was like, "What is Service doing? Is he trying to hand it over? Is he trying to just fold the cards?" And then the whole Cal Riley thing. I don't want to make this a Locked On Mariners show. It's the last thing we'll say about the Mariners, but he basically made the comment, well, the Rangers went out and got all this help at the deadline, and we really didn't do a whole lot. And I'm like, look, I don't know if this is the time or the place for that, Cal. I don't really think that's the reason. I mean, the Rangers, they went out and did all they've done, but at the end, at this point, they really barely got in. They got in by the skin of their teeth with all the money they spent. So maybe it's worth an extra win or two. There, let me take this off my head because I'm about to fall off my King Tut crown. I was trying to stand King Tut here because, man, that guy just looked befuddled when he hit that ground rule double at the end of the game. In the late innings, he was just like, they were like, that's the most disappointing ground rule double in Kyle Tucker's career because he just got on top of it and he put that top spin on it. It had no chance of clearing the fences, but they came in and they swept, Eric. They swept. I expected them to win 2 of 3. I didn't expect them to sweep. And what they did last night, it only happened 4 times where you had 2 people clinch from the same game, the winner and the loser for the playoffs.
Right.
And the other time, one other time that happened, it was the Houston Astros back in 2005, I believe, or 2004. And so it was them in St. Louis. Yeah, back in 2004. And so they've been 2 of the 4 teams or the 4 instances in Major League Baseball history where both teams from the same game have clinched a playoff spot.
Somebody's wants to see Jabu, the rally hippo. So yes, I put him up on the shelf earlier, but he was watching the game with me. And also what happened yesterday was the Gurriel brothers actually both clinched on the same night. So with the Marlins and the Diamondbacks as well. So we saw the Diamondbacks jumping into the pool yesterday. And I don't think the Astros doing that. They're actually having the beer celebration like they typically do. But the Astros know that they have. Oh, I love Dusty Baker's response. They're like, well, what do you have any further comments? Or he said something, but he's like, man, I just want to go party with my boys. Let me just go party with my boys.
He just wants to go party with his guys. I mean, he said it. This is a tough season. He said, I knew we were going to have to win it in ways that we didn't normally win things. But look, I do want to tell you this, even though it's playoff tickets, you can still go to Game Time. If you haven't gotten your playoff tickets for the ALDS, now is the time. What are you waiting for? The Game Time app experience is phenomenal. They have last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy tickets of every kind of event in your area. It doesn't matter where you're going. And they also have event cancellation protection as well as job loss protection. And you get to see the seat from the view from your seat before you go there. Simply 2 clicks. It's in your phone. It's in the app. You get there. I've done it myself. Walk right up to Minute Maid Park, purchase a ticket. Literally, as I'm going through the gate, they scan the ticket, I'm in. Also, Game Time has a guarantee where if you find a ticket and if you find that ticket in the same row in the same section for a lower price, they'll give you 110% the difference. So what you have to do is download the Game Time app today, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your purchase. And when you get $20 off that first purchase, you will know that you're saving. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We don't know what time the game is, but we do know that the Astros will play either the Twins or the Blue Jays on Saturday, Game 1, the ALDS. Catch all the hometown play calls on SiriusXM. Go to the SXM app, search Astros. You know, one of the cool things, Eric, about what they're going to do with this change over to the Space City home network, what they're calling it, is they're going to be doing pregame and postgame shows during the playoffs.
Right.
And so, hey, maybe they can get Locked On Astros with them. That'd be kind of fun. You know, give them a call, say, hey, Clay, what's up, buddy? Maybe we can get Clay on. Maybe we can get Mike on, you know, during the playoffs or even before. But they'll be doing that. So you'll still get to see TK and Blummer. I think some of those guys and Julia in the playoffs. I know a lot of people miss them as a part of the TV portion. So maybe watch them before and come hang out with us afterwards, right?
Yes. So Sylvester Turner, the mayor of Houston, sent a message to the Mariners today. He said, I would like to personally thank the Mariners for their win today. I would like to thank them as well. And I'm still shocked that everything happened. I mean, for the Rangers to lose 3 out of 4 games to the Mariners, and for the Astros to sweep the Diamondbacks, who are a playoff team, who are a good young team, for everything to happen exactly, it was a 5% chance of this happening, a week ago? And
wow.
For everything to happen, I'm not going to say this is a team of destiny, but I think what you're going to see is the fact that this was a rocky road to get here. And I think that this is just a way that this was an easy path that the Astros have faced before. It wasn't the golden brick road or whatever you call it, that they've walked down where it's easy. I think this is going to make them a better team. What have we seen the past 3 days? The Diamondbacks only scored 1 run in 27
right.
innings.
27 innings. That's insane that they only – well, and you know what? Dude, Jose Abreu today, this guy is just – he is really showing up in a big way. And I really think we're going to see some big things out of him come playoff time. He's bringing in more runs than any hitter in this lineup. He is, and I just caught a glimpse of it because the TV got changed as I was watching it, I think on accident, but I saw Jose Abreu sprinting into the clubhouse. I don't know if he was going to do a slide or I don't know what he was doing.
Please don't.
but this is great though. The feeling they had. And Eric, I think today you could see them playing loose. You could see them playing with smiles. You could see them enjoying themselves because the pressure was off. And I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, we need to be worried now. We're the number 2 seed. We'll have the home field. Okay. Why is that a problem? Have you not watched this team in the last 6 years? This is the 7th year in a row in the postseason. Have you not seen what we can do and what we've done? This team is putting it together at the right time. You may not have put it together throughout the season, but all things are coming together at the right time. And it's like Blummer said, if we can get the pitching and offense on the same page, doing the same thing, there's not a team that's going to want to face us. But this is what's interesting about the matchup coming up. We will play either Carlos Correa or George Springer in the ALDS?
It's either this or what was the George Springer signature thing?
I don't know.
Springer
I don't
Dinger,
know.
I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, Springer Dinger. Yeah, we don't want to see any Springer Dingers when he comes to Houston. I mean,
Right.
even look, they even have Kevin Biggio, Craig Biggio's son. It's just, to me, it's interesting. I would say former Astro Cristian Vazquez, world champion Astro Cristian Vazquez, but to have those two guys possibly coming here for game 1 and 2 of the ALDS, I think it's kind of weird in a way.
Right.
But I think it's going to be bittersweet to see our old teammates, our old Houston Astros that we loved. But at the same time, it's going to be even more fun when we push on to the ALCS. I really have confidence. There you go. I really have confidence, Eric, that this team is going to be squaring off against the Baltimore Orioles in the ALCS this year. And that is going to be, if we can get there, that is going to be an absolute melee. It's going to be a bloodbath baseball wise. I think it's going to be a really good series.
All right. I do want to kind of take a break from the playoffs and everything. And I do want to talk about Kyle Tucker. I think he was gypped in this situation of a 30-30 season. Before we talk about that, Baker on prior to the game today, he said, I like to get everybody in the game, but number one, I think I want to win a game. There's some guys that need at bats, the guys that need to take a break from their legs if we have to play on Tuesday. I do want to bring this up. Baker on Javier. We'll see how far we take Cristian. That's going to depend on what's happening elsewhere. However, we can get early lead, which they did. I've got some guys here pushing 100 RBIs and 30 home runs. The personal stuff matters on the back of your bubblegum card also. So here we are bringing baseball cards back up. And I know that Elias and the official score doesn't really care about official stats. They just care about the rules. But I didn't see an error in that situation. So yes, the ball went over McCarthy's head. He missed it, but it just because he didn't jump high enough or he misjudged it. And then the ball went over there, and then he threw it into the cutoff guy, and the cutoff guy, instead of throwing it to a base, decided to jog in. And then Kyle Tucker took advantage of him and like jogging in and then stole home essentially. And they called it a fielder choice. How's that fielder choice?
It's actually a double. So it went from a home run to a triple to a double in the official score box score. It says they gave him a double, and I can tell you why they gave him a double. He let up on his running from second to third. He wasn't sprinting to third. He was kind of going about 3/4 speed. He wasn't going full speed. And then going home, he decided last minute to go home. I've been in the press box.
They called it a triple.
Okay, Eric, it's showing as a double on MLB.com. I'm telling you right now.
I'm looking at the same thing, and it shows a triple.
Okay, well, all right. Okay, well,
he has a double and triple
point
today. He had 2 hits today. He had a double and triple.
Okay, it is showing a triple in the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
So,
okay,
but
cool.
people are saying that he slowed down at third base.
He did. He did slow down. My whole point was when you're in the press box, I've actually been in the press box for the Space Cowboys when there was a triple and when there was an in the park home run, kind of in the same game. And the in the park home run, they had to go back and forth because they had to look at what the player was doing, how engaged they were in running. If Kyle Tucker had been sprinting around the bases the entire time and gone home, you could have probably made a case for an in the park home run, because even when a guy throws it from the outfield and throws it home and the catcher misses it, you don't call it a triple and an error. You call it an in the park home run. And so that's what I think happened there. It is unfortunate. But I tell you this, I do know for a fact that Craig Biggio, if he got a double and they labeled it a single, he would go to the score box at the end of the game and he would talk to the scorekeeper And some of those doubles were because Craig Biggio advocated for them. I don't know if Kyle Tucker is that kind of player, but Craig Biggio very much, he let the scorekeeper know, because I talked to a guy who used to be one of these scorekeepers, and he said Craig was very serious about his hits, and he made sure that he got credit for every hit he got. He wasn't going to let anybody give him an error when he didn't deserve an error. And so these players do take it personally. That's why I said, Kyle Tucker, you see his body language. I've never seen someone look so down about hitting a ground rule double as I did Kyle Tucker getting to second base. But the bottom line is Kyle Tucker is an absolute force offensively on this team. He's absolutely necessary. And Bregman heating up right now at the end of the season, getting a triple and a home run today in the game. I mean, if these guys are firing on all cylinders, Eric, I feel bad for the other team.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure you listen to the Astros play the Twins or the Blue Jays Saturday in game 1 of ALDS. We don't know who we're going to play, but we know that likely it's going to be either Justin Verlander or Framber Valdez. That's or co-aces. So Dusty Baker has a week to decide who's going to be on mound. So catch all the play-by-play action on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Astros. And Brett, where's a good place to watch the game?
So if you're going to watch the game, go hang out with our friends at Hooters, whether you're in Pearland, Pasadena, NASA, whether you're in Galveston, Humble, Katy, doesn't matter. They're all over the Houston area. They have weekly specials Monday through Friday. I'm sure they're going to have all the TVs turned to every Astros playoff game. And not only that, the world famous Hooters girls. And Monday through Friday, they have Blue Moons that are $3, and they have Michelob Ultra pitchers that are $9.99. So check that out. They got great desserts. I prefer the smoked wings, and the service is always second to none. On Thursday nights, if you get there before the Astros are in the playoffs, you want to watch other playoff games, Thursday night football. I know at Pearland and NASA, they do karaoke after each Thursday night football game, and they have happy hour from like 10 p.m. till close. So go check them out. They are a sponsor of ours. And if you go in there and tell them Locked On Astros sent you, you'll get a free basket of fried pickles.
All right. So I'm really hungry right now. I could use a basket of fried pickles right now, but I know the Astros are hungry. They're hungry for the playoffs. And I know everybody in baseball hates the fact that the Astros are back in. What they've made the postseason, 7 straight years, 7 out of 8 years. They missed 1 year because of I think 2016 they didn't make the postseason, so something like that. But I think what the Astros, or 7 out of 9 years, I guess I should say, but what the Astros are doing is great. I think one day this week we are going to talk about are the Astros a dynasty? First of all, we need to kind of get a general consensus of what a dynasty is. And I know we had some comments with some people on YouTube about what dynasty is. And like different sports, there's different terms for dynasty. We know that the Yankees had a dynasty from 98 to 2001. And then the Braves had their dynasty, but they only won 1 World Series. So are the Astros in the middle of a dynasty? And we're going to talk about that, but there's so much for us to talk about. Who's going to be on the playoff roster? We're going to look back at the whole season and the roller coaster ride that has been. But what the Astros have done, it just with everybody, all the injuries. You had Jose Altuve, that I believe he only played in 90 games this year. You had Alvarez miss a whole bunch of games. Michael Brantley basically missed the whole season. And Lance McCullers didn't throw a single pitch. Luis Garcia lasted maybe 1 or 2 starts, and Jose Urquidy missed most of the season. You dealt with so many different injuries, and I know that Chandler Rome threw out a stat the other day that said the Astros had the fewest amount of injuries of all the teams in baseball, but it just seemed like it was the big time injuries the Astros had to deal with.
It was the players. It was who was out, how long they were out, how that would have really affected, I think, the outcome of a lot of games throughout the season where we probably wouldn't be in this scenario. And I'm gonna keep saying this until the season's over, until this team's played their last game. I've said all along that this team was going to accomplish things and do things that no other Astros team has done before. And they're going to do it in a fashion that no other Astros team has done before. And they are proving that out. And despite all the stuff going on, the quote unquote fracture in the locker room, the team Maldi and the team Diaz or whatever, all this stuff, right? The Astros have navigated through all that to be where they are. And it's a whole team effort, from the manager to the bench coach, to every player, to every guy that pinch hit, to every pitcher, to Bracamonte, to Miller, to all these guys in this organization. They all get credit because this is a total team effort. We are going to look at, is this a dynasty? We're going to look at like our awards for the year, players of the year, stuff like that. We're also going to take one night we'll look at the Blue Jays, and then the other night we'll look at the Twins and how we match up against them. And that will lead us into the weekend. And look, I'm telling you, game 1 Saturday, I'm going to be there, but we will do a Locked On Astros show after game 1. We will be doing shows for Locked On after the every postseason game, even if it's not on a Monday through Friday. So you can count on us being here like we always have been, right, Eric?
Yeah, for the Astros to go on this 10 where they lost 10 out of 14 games to win the last 5 out of the last 6 games or whatever it was. This is just crazy, and I'm here for it. Cristian Javier, as much as he struggled the last few starts, he looks like the old Cristian Javier. He doesn't have the same dominating stuff at times, but he looks like I can trust this dude in playoffs. The way Justin Verlander pitched the other day, Framber Valdez, he has his ups and downs, but I know when it comes to playoff time, I can trust this dude. JP France, he's going to be totally rested. Actually, it's kind of a bad thing he hasn't pitched in a little bit, but I think it may make him a little bit fresh, but they'll probably do some type of simulated game for him. But the Astros have a rotation, and they're going to be able to line up that rotation. Cristian Javier today, 6 innings, only 3 hits allowed, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, no home runs. No home runs is a key right there. And so his ERA finishes on season at 4.56. Hunter Brown had a scoreless inning. Montero gave up the 1 run of the game, but he still looks pretty strong. I will trust him in the playoffs despite his 5.08 ERA. I think the Astros are exactly where you want them to be. The offense is going to be just good enough. I think the starting pitching is starting to come around, and their bullpen will get the job done. So now it's just a matter of waiting to see who the Astros play. And there's some advantages versus each team. I think I'd rather face the Twins because of their recent history. But I think the Blue Jays can be a tough team.
Yeah, exactly. I think, look, you're in the playoffs. Everybody's a tough team. You're in the playoffs. No one's going to take, no matter who we play, lightly.
Right.
Even if we had the 6th seed and we played Minnesota for 3 games, you're not taking Minnesota lightly, okay? But there are some key people in baseball that have some significant things happen that I think need to mention. Someone mentioned it here. Gustavo, thank you for sharing this with us. And I was going to say something. I just got a little sidetracked. Tim Wakefield actually passed away today at the age of 49. I just wanted 57. To read. No, it says 49.
Okay.
So Jared Carabas, who has a phenomenal podcast, who's a big Boston guy, he said every complimentary word you've heard about Tim Wakefield, take that and multiply it by 1,000,000. It's all true. Genuinely one of the kindest, most selfless, caring, and giving people I've ever met. I'm heartbroken. All the love and condolences to his family. Rest in power. And then our old friend Gabriella Starr, she shared a picture of her mom because she said, I want to meet Tim Wakefield one day because he seems like the nicest man on the planet. And she met him in 2018. And she goes, you know what? Her dream come true. He was the nicest man on the planet.
And I do want to correct it. It is 57.
It is 57. Okay. Well,
yes.
Someone put 49 on here. So
it's fine. He is 57. Okay. He was born in 1966. And he was one of my favorite pitchers outside of Houston to watch just because I love knuckleballers. I love the way the ball just kind of dances around. You don't really see that much anymore. And yes, he didn't really have much success, but he was part of the Red Sox winning the World Series during those times. So yes, he had a big 19-year career, and unfortunately, cancer sucks. But it's just part of
yeah. It's touched so many people. You know, I mean, I'm sure people that are listening have friends and family that they've lost too. But you know, on a more upbeat note, Zach Greinke walked off the mound possibly for the last time today. He threw 5 shutout innings, looked phenomenal out there. And then Miguel Cabrera had his last game as a Tiger and as a major leaguer. He had his mom and his dad throw out the first pitch this week at the ballpark just to commemorate. And it's something cool, I thought. You know, big time pitchers usually have big time egos. And Roger Clemens retweeted when Cabrera was a rookie and they played against the Yankees with the Marlins, and Cabrera hits a 2-run home run off of Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens said, when this kid did this, I knew he was special. That takes a big ego guy a lot to be able to do that. That really says a lot about Roger Clemens' character. So congratulations, Cabrera and Greinke, and condolences to the Wakefield family and all those who knew him personally. Our hearts go out to y'all.
All right. So a lot of people are like, okay, great. You got home field advantage in ALDS. You have the number 2 seed overall. But you suck at home this year. Yes. You have a 39-42 home record. You have scored 365 runs at home, allowed 381 runs at home. This is something that is going to be a factor. But I think once you get to the postseason, anything that happened in a regular season, you can hopefully just kind of push it aside. Hopefully. But we'll have to address this maybe on another show this week. But for right now, the Astros, for the last time they won on the road, they have a 51-30 record on the road. So as bad as they did at home, they're just as good on the road. And I think that this will help them in the postseason. Any closing thoughts?
I'm just sitting here looking at this run that we're on right now. We've won 2 World Series. We've been to 6 ALCS. We're in the postseason for a 7th straight year. Folks, the golden era is still in effect. The Astros are still the kings of the West. Watch out, league. We just hit playoff mode, and it's about to go down. Y'all have a
Rally
good one.
Hippos here.
That's right. And
we are the Locked On Astros podcast. You can find me at Eric Coxtros. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Just say Go Stros.
Okay, Go Stros, and you can't find Brett anywhere. So
no,
Wheelhouse.
Just on X.
Just on X. You can find him on X. That sounds bad. But anyway, all right, that's all I got. Bye, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.